Hello, welcome. In the previous video about the this article of EPW regarding the Arctic region and its resources. In the previous video, we discussed about the Arctic region and Arctic Council, importance of the Arctic region and membership of the Arctic Council and observer status, all these things. Now in this video, we see Arctic region as a perspective from India's side and with respect to the India's draft Arctic policy of January 2021. And we also see about the China with respect to the Arctic region, which is our major contender. And we finally talk about the conclusion. The first thing here, coming to the India's Arctic contacts, India about the Arctic, the contacts of India with the Arctic has began a century ago with the signing of a treaty called Svalbard Treaty in the February 1920 in Paris. That is, in Paris, February 1920, India signed a treaty called Svalbard Treaty with respect to the contacts of Arctic region. This is the first India's stepping into the Arctic region affairs, and later then a breakthrough in India's polar research came in 1981 when the country joined the nations engaged in Arctic exploration. That means India joined in 1981 with the group of countries which are explored in the Antarctic exploration by this India's polar research program. Then the breakthrough of this all program has been started. However, its engagement not make much headway till 2017. Till 2017, there was no much bigger things happen. When the 2017, scientists undertook India's first Arctic expedition. In 2017, Indian scientists of the Polar Research undertook first Arctic Indian expedition and with a view to initiate studies in the glaciology, biological sciences, ocean and atmospheric sciences. Here, a major improvement has been started in 2007. After that is in 2008, India set up a research station in the Arctic called Himadri. This is the first research station set up at the Arctic by the India at the Norway Svalbard International Arctic Research Base at the Svalbard of the Norway. There, the first Indian research station called Himadri has been set up. In another 6 years' time, scientists from the ESSO National Center for Arctic and Ocean Research, that is NCAOR, and ESSO National Institute of Ocean Technology, that is NIOT, set up another facility at the Kongsfjorden, which is part of Svalbard archipelago of the Arctic Ocean. It is in this archipelago, another facility has been set up by NCAOR and NIOT of the ESSO. And the facility in India's first multi-sensor moored observatory. India's first multi-sensor moored observatory called IND-ARC has been there to undertake studies and collect real-time data on Arctic climate and impacts on the monsoon. This is the India's first multi-sensor moored observatory to study Arctic climate and monsoon, all these things. The successful deployment of this facility, this IND-ARC facility deployment, seen as a model of Indo-Norwegian scientific technical cooperation in addressing global climate change. In addressing global climate change, this setup of IND-ARC has seen as model of Indo-Norwegian scientific cooperation and technical cooperation. And coming to the next things, another atmospheric laboratory has been established in 2016 at the Gruvebadet in the Ny Alesund. In this region, Gruvebadet Ny Alesund, in 2016, another atmospheric laboratory has been set up with the aim of initiating studies on majorly clouds and precipitation and long-range pollutants, other background atmospheric parameters which are used to measure the major climatic changes. This type of laboratory has been set up in 2016. The Arctic research has helped to initiate studies on the glacier in the Himalayan region. Here, what India has been benefited from all these researches means the third pole, which is Himalayas, has been situated on the north of our country, which is similar to the somewhat Arctic region. That's why when we study on the Arctic region, it is somewhat similar to the Himalayan region climate, so that two things broadly we can analyze in this perspective. That is, both parameters are involved here. The importance of such comparative studies is underlined by the annual report of 2018 to 19 of the National Center for the Polar Ocean Research. This National Center for Polar Ocean Research publishes an annual report every year. In the year 2018 to 19, it highlighted the importance of the comparative study of the Arctic region with the Himalayan region. This NCPOR, that is National Center for Polar Ocean Research, acts as a nodal agency for the India's polar research program. It also includes somewhat some type of Arctic studies. According to the report, glaciers are melting world over, and those in the Arctic and Himalayas are no exception. Due to this higher melting, the Svalbard glaciers and ice caps cover an area of 34,600 kilometers square, while Himalayas occupy 38,000 kilometers square. Svalbard glacier, that is near to the Norway, they cover 34,600 square kilometers. Apart from this, Himalayas only constitute itself 38,000 square kilometers, more than this thing. Observation revealed that last 1.5 decades, the process of glacier retreat has been significantly enhanced in the both regions. That's why there is a somewhat more climatic changes has been seen at the alarming rate. And when coming to the next things, it is needless to say that this has a tremendous implication on the agroclimatic conditions of the countries like India, whose food security itself dependent on the ecosystem stability. There is no another need to say that glacier melting has been shown impact on the agroclimatic conditions of countries which depend on the agroclimatic areas like India and all these things, which is their food security is directly dependent on the ecosystem stability. The draft India's Arctic policy itself says that there are several synergies between the polar studies and the study of Himalayas. It is a comparative study. There are several synergies are there. That is some related things. Arctic research will help India's scientific community to study the melting rates of the third pole, that is the Himalayan glaciers. When we study about the Arctic, you can come over the some problem resolving solution for the melting of the Himalayan glaciers. Recently, due to this glaciers melting only, Nanda Devi Glacier, the floods in the Uttarakhand, flash floods has been seen. It will help in such a way, which are endowed with the largest freshwater reserves in the world outside the geographic poles, says the India's Arctic policy. And institutions involved in the polar studies are not many in India, only some are there. For example, under the Ministry of Earth Sciences, polar studies and research has been taken up by the Goa-based NCPOR, that is the National Center for the Polar and Ocean Research Studies. And Other thing is the Ministry of External Affairs look over the engagement with the Arctic Council, somewhat like diplomatic relations with the Arctic Council. Other ministries including Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change, and the Ministry of Science and Technology, and Ministry of Department of Space. These are involved in the polar research enhancement. For example, environment, this Ministry of Environment involved in the some report publishers and major analysis of the different changes, all these things. Coming to the science and technology, it will develop different sorts of technological inventions, all this. Department of Space involved in development of the different mechanical instrument that help in the research of the station. And in fact, India's interest in the polar studies has began in the 1981 with the first scientific expedition to this Arctic region, to the Antarctica. First 1981, India's polar research has begun with the expedition to the Antarctica. Antarctica, it is absolutely opposite to the Arctic region. Since then, several projects have been underway in the areas of Arctic, Antarctic, and South Ocean and the Himalayas to study the polar related happenings. And according to the note attached to the India's Arctic policy, India needs to play a constructive role in the Arctic by leveraging its vast scientific pool and expertise in the Himalayan and polar research. India would also like to contribute in ensuring Arctic becomes more accessible. By this using of the technology and all these things, India can make the Arctic more accessible, thereby sustainable harnessing of resources of the Arctic in consonance with the best practices formulated by the some of the bodies such as Arctic Council. When we see about the India's Arctic policy, it initiated with the 5 major areas of the engagement. These areas include, the first thing is the science and research, and the second is economic and human development cooperation. Third thing is the transportation and connectivity. Fourth is the governance and international cooperation. Fifth is national capacity building. It is clear that India's Arctic policy, apart from underlying the significance of the science and research, it sees Arctic region as a potential area of the engagement in diverse areas of the human development. When we see one by one these areas, generally, when we see significance of science and research has been underlined. Apart from that, Arctic region seen as a potential area of engagement in areas of human development as well as commercial activities. When we see on the perspective of different fields, science and research automatically develop, that's not a matter at all, and human development and commercial activities also are being focused in the draft Arctic policy of India. According to the document, India seeks to engage in economic development in a manner that is sustainable and value to the Arctic resident, especially indigenous community, without harming them. And the Arctic offers viable opportunities in different sectors where Indian enterprises can be involved and become part of the international commerce and promote traditional indigenous knowledge, business and best practices by sustainable management of the Arctic resources by protecting the indigenous population also. This is a vision of the document of the Arctic Policy 2021. And this document also sees Arctic as the largest unexplored prospective area for the hydrocarbons remaining on the Earth. This policy also sees as Arctic region as one of the largest unexplored area for the hydrocarbons on the Earth remaining. And besides its vast resources of mineral deposits, it also having deposits of hydrocarbons. It also keeps in perspective India's investments in the Russia, which is $15 billion in oil and gas projects. When we see last year or before year, Modi has been signed a memorandum of agreement with respect to the investment of the $15 billion into the oil and gas projects in the Russia's Arctic Siberian region. This also will be a big step towards this Arctic policy. Hence, India seeks to explore similar opportunity in other Arctic nations as well, apart from Russia and Norway and all these things. And a draft policy document is also confident of utilizing India's expertise in the digital economy for facilitating establishment of data centers for the commerce in the region. Apart from that, it also facilitates establishment of data centers for the development of the commerce in the region. And it further explores opportunity for the investment in the Arctic infrastructure so that exploration, mining, ports, railways, airports can be developed in this region. Thereby connectivity will increase and development can be far more. This inevitably calls for encouraging participation by Indian public and private sector firms. By this opportunity of the infrastructure development support, various Indian public firms and private sector firms will get into the thing and expertise in these sectors of cooperation and connectivity. India's Chamber of Industry and Commerce will be encouraged to enhance private investment in the Arctic and explore public-private partnership model in the region, thereby enhancing the development in the region. The draft policy also indicates that India's companies will be encouraged to obtain membership in the Arctic Economic Council. In the Arctic Economic Council, India's companies will be given the membership, will be encouraged here, according to the draft policy. Another area where India has leverage in Arctic region is the human development. The document says specialized cultures of Arctic indigenous inhabitants are being inexplorably impacted by the climate change. By the climate change, due to the rise in the temperature and all these things, the indigenous inhabitants around the Arctic region will get more affected by this climate change. And by this economic development and improved connectivity, there can be changes, some developmental socio-economic changes can be seen. It is somewhat similar to the socio-economic ecological predicament of the Himalayan peoples. Thus, disruption of the unique ecosystems, erosion of the traditional knowledge has been common to both. India has substantial expertise in addressing such issues because we have dealing with the Himalayan peoples, all these things. That's why we can deal also expertisely in the areas of Arctic indigenous communities, thereby proposing different types of solutions. In the realm of transportation and connectivity, India has vital stakes. According to the India's Arctic policy, India ranks third in the list of seafarer supply nations that catering almost 10% global demand. Through this, maritime human resources could contribute toward meeting the growing requirement of the Arctic. By this, India's development as a third biggest nation by supplying 10% of the global demand by using this connectivity and transportation, India can supply in maritime human resources in the Arctic region also. India's expect that ice-free conditions in the Arctic would help in the opening of the new shipping routes, thereby lowering the costs and reshaping the global trade. And traffic, especially through the North Sea route, is rising exponentially, which projected to quadruple by 2025, that is increased by 4 times by 2025. The draft policy also seeks to explore the possibility of linking the international north-south transport corridor with unified deep water system. This type of technology will give it further extension of the Arctic connectivity development. India expects north-south connectivity will result in the lowering of the shipping costs and overall development of the hinterland and of the indigenous communities more than the east-west connectivity will be seen in the Arctic region. And India is well aware of the fact that Arctic governance is very crucial in the geopolitical milieu, and the region itself is governed by numerous national domestic laws and bilateral agreements between different nations and global treaties and conventions. Customary laws, also customary laws for the indigenous people development. Hence, Arctic states respective sovereign jurisdictions as well as their beyond the national jurisdiction has been seen. It needed to be reckoned with framework of international and national regulations. Then only all things in the Arctic will be resolved. While overall focus of the capacity building is on the science and technology, the draft document does not seem much more given adequate space for the social sciences, including strategic components in the making of the India's Arctic policy. Even though the 4 sections of the 5 pillars of the uh, Arctic India's Arctic policy outlines these diverse areas of the social sciences, but separately it does not mention any much more things. This is the thing. And coming to the next China and Arctic policy, we will see China and Arctic policy and conclusion in the next video. That's all for that. Okay.